All right, it's 6 p.m. I'd like to begin this caucus session of our council. We have one item for action this evening under new business, being one resolution. Who wants to go ahead and take that?
I can do it. You can do it? Well, I can do it.
Any changes or additions to the agenda this evening? Okay, thank you. I'd like to call this March 4th, 2015 council meeting to order. Would you please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Kosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Rogers? Mr. Tisch?
Here.
Okay, all of you have received a set of minutes from our February 18th regular council meeting. Are there any revisions to those minutes?
I have none.
If not, they stand approved and on record. Under reading of communications, Mr. Tisch?
I have no communications as of yet.
Mr. Morvay?
Yeah, Joe, I have lights and lights. So, the lighting down the new street, they're on in the middle of the day, is it?
Yeah, they're on an electric eye, and then the switch that the eye communicates with that turns the lights on, it'll turn them on, but it won't shut them off.
I see.
Manually, our guys have to shut it off. We've had Jarvis take a look at it. And I don't know if we've ever gotten a quote.
Cornerstone was actually out there today and worked on them again. They found some moisture issues. They did some sealing to try to prevent moisture from getting in. They replaced the electric eye. We had replaced it once. They replaced it again. They did some other work on it. They said, make sure everything's good. If not, they'll come back out and try again. But they did work on it today.
Okay, yeah, we went to the MS Consultants to see whether it was still under warranty because that having just been completed. However, the eye and all of the components were put in phase 1 with the expectation of adding on phase 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So it's past its warranty, 2-year warranty period. We had asked the Cornerstone, the installer, or Faustra actually to see whether there's any manufacturer's warranty that may still cover some of the components. And I've not heard anything back, so we're aware of it. And
Okay.
manually, they've been shutting them back off, and then they work coming on, but every so often they just decide to stay on.
Yeah, so I figured we were on top of it. I just needed an answer for the resident that showed it. The other thing is, resident going 5:30 in the morning, either east or west on 224 in the center of town claims that the light's on for 20 seconds, the green light. I don't know, I don't wake up that early. Well, I do.
Which light? The
Right in the center of town. Yeah, there's that 2 lights right in the center of town. He claims that in the morning it's like 20 seconds, and if he's on his phone, he misses the light. So,
I know they're still, that's also part of the project. They haven't switched that over to the new system yet, but those are on timers, I believe. They have
That's programmed in the box. It should run off the loop detector. But when I talked to Cornerstone today, they're very close to having the new system up and running, so that should alleviate any problems.
That's it, lights and lights.
Okay. Mayor Kuzma?
I have nothing.
Okay. Mr. Morvay?
Yeah, under correspondence, I did receive a letter from First Night Canfield thanking us for our contribution last year, and also hoping that we'll continue to sponsor that event this coming year, asking for the same amount that was given last year. I received correspondence from Eastgate that there's a ODOT Transportation Improvement Program meeting set for Friday the 13th. And one of our projects, the East Main Street Sidewalk Project, is one of the ones that will be reviewed. Hopefully we'll get a start date from this meeting. Also received notification from DSA that the statewide tornado drill that was scheduled for, I believe, Tuesday has been postponed, and they will have that this Friday at 9:50 unless there's a change again. And I wanted to make mention, I saw the Vindicator article, but I see Robert's not here tonight, that he was one of the ones selected or nominated for an award for some of his writings. So I just want to make mention of that as well. That's all I have under correspondence.
Under reports of committee, city manager, department heads. Mr. Morgan?
The fire district continues to work on the new fire station. We just ordered the 2 new fire trucks, and just to report that everything is going on pretty well. So that's all I have.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Or maybe a couple. Not that you can necessarily answer them tonight, but maybe for a future report. I think I saw something in the minutes about the fire district had acquired ambulance, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and is that up and running as far as that procedure, or?
That will be, I believe the start date of that was April 1st, and it's only a backup provision because we were having some lag times with the ambulance that we have been using. So this is just another little safety piece in there, give us some better response times if we're having that problem.
Okay. Can you tell me anything about the automatic mutual aid provisions with whichever departments, whether it's Austintown, Boardman, Beaver? Do we have those automatic response provisions, and what are the criteria and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I don't know the specifics, but we do. Boardman, Ellsworth, Austintown, we do have mutual aid with those departments, yes.
But are they automatic? I mean, we've always had mutual aid in which if they needed assistance, they would call us and we would respond. There was one question raised, I'm trying to think who it was, but anyway, I had a citizen ask me whether we had automatic provisions so that if Austintown responded to a call, we automatically would respond toward Austintown, and or if Boardman responded to a call, we automatically would respond to Boardman.
Yeah, Mr. Tisch, I don't know for sure, but I think we have to call them and ask them for their support in whatever that,
Okay.
the mutual aid is. But I think that's what we do.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor Tozer?
I have nothing.
Okay. Joe?
Okay, we have one item of legislation to deal with this evening, and basically it's a resolution committing the city to pay back the borrowed money from the Ohio Public Works Commission. It's a resolution required from the Ohio Public Works Commission that the city sign and enter into before they'll release the funding for that project. I also have not heard anything from the Ohio Turnpike Commission with regard to setting up their pre-construction meeting for the Timber Run extension, so there's nothing new on that. We do have a pre-construction meeting set up for next Monday at 10 o'clock for the 24-inch water line project. We had initially had it scheduled for this week, but the ODOT personnel couldn't accommodate us, and we certainly want them there for the meeting. The mayor and I sat in with one of the inspectors for the 224 project, and there's going to be a lot of coordination needed, working together side by side on the 2 projects, so we definitely want them present when we have our meeting. And I think that's pretty much all I have to report. Todd?
Might I ask a question?
Sure.
On the 24-inch water line project, are we coordinated with the city of Youngstown on the meter and the meter pit there on Broad Street?
We communicated with Gene, and he's invited to be at the meeting as well.
Okay.
Emergency.
Thank you.
Since the last meeting, snow and ice control, we've been out to plow and salt on 6 different occasions, and twice we were out just to salt. We only had one water main break in February, which we were very fortunate considering the cold weather that we had. When we're not out on snow and ice control, we've been trying to dig out fire hydrants, open basin inlets, and patch potholes. The way the weather is right now, a lot of them are patching the next day. They're either blowing back out or there's another hole right next to it. We are trying to keep up on a daily basis. I'd just like to remind residents that cemetery decorations must be removed by March 15th. Hopefully the snow will be off by then. We'll give a little bit of leeway if we need to, given the conditions in the cemetery right now. And one thing I'd like to mention, if anyone gets a complaint when we're out patching on the main roads, we're going to start running 2 vehicles. One's going to be behind the truck that's actually doing the patching. We had one labor almost get hit last week, almost got sideswiped by a car out on one of the main roads. Then today we had a lady that actually got so close she hit the shovel with one of our employees. They are wearing their safety vests, but it's just people aren't paying attention and they're impatient. They don't want to have to wait. It'll take a couple extra minutes to wait for us to make the repairs. So we will be running 2 vehicles when we're patching on the main roads.
Todd, I know we have some issues with potholes, but at large, though, it's not that, I mean, if you go down Shields Road, it's like a wash. Oh my God, I need a tank. And I mean, is our roads that much better, or are we doing something different? Or?
We try to keep up on them. The city has always tried to maintain a paving program, resurfacing program, which helps considerably. But then this time of year, we try to keep up on them. When I went home last night, 224's West Main was fine. When I came in this morning, there were 2 big holes right in front of ODOT that had popped up overnight.
Yeah.
And we do try to keep up on it. We get a lot of complaints. People call me messages on the answering machine very angry about roads with the holes. But the roads they're upset about are county roads. They're not roads within the city.
Yeah, tell them to take a run down Shields Road. You feel them in your teeth, they're gone.
Drive to the city,
I had the Office of Criminal Justice Services come in last week to do an audit on 3 different police department grants. We passed the audit with flying colors. She was very happy. And I've been working on the budget. That's about all I have.
I'll echo the working on the budget. Joe, you kind of alluded to what I was going to comment on. The statewide tornado drill sirens will be this Friday at 9:50 a.m. They're going to sound for 3 minutes. And again, it's statewide. Mr. Tisch, the comment on the fire department and what was the question that they had? If it was automatic mutual aid?
Automatic mutual aid.
I could give you the foundation of that. I can't give you all the criteria that needs to be met, but I do believe it is automatic for structure fires only. There has to be smoke coming out of a structure. There's probably more criteria to that, but that's just pretty much, from a dispatching perspective, the directives that I've read that we've put out to our people, that's what I'm aware of. So it is with the neighboring communities. So if we have a structure fire, Austintown and Boardman are coming to assist us, and if they have a structure fire, we're going to assist them. So I believe the foundation of that's only structure fire. And then, Mr. Morvay, did your caller advise if they were texting when they missed that green light?
That's what I advised them.
That was the other thing. Next week, at some point, they're going to be ready to take the signals down, put the new signals up. I got a call today, and at some point that's going to happen next week. They haven't narrowed that down, but they're going to take those lights down from 9 a.m. to approximately 5 p.m. on that day that they decide to do that. We'll be out there to assist. They'll also have people out there to assist. And the day with the weather is hard to narrow down. So, but I could attest to short run cycles in the middle of them. That's an accurate statement. So, that's it.
I don't have a report tonight. Most of what I would want to talk about would be subject of executive session, which I don't need tonight. So.
Ted?
We issued 2 permits in February, one for a sign, one for a garage sale. You have my annual report where our subdivisions are. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Of course, just a reminder, there's budget hearings at the conclusion of the council meeting today, just like discussing the issue.
Okay. Under persons desiring additional information from department heads, may I ask that you step forward to the podium, state your name and address clearly for the record, and keep your questions to 3 minutes maximum per person and no longer than 30 minutes total. Your questions must only pertain to each department head's report this evening. Okay. Under recognition of persons desiring to speak before council, may I ask that you step forward to the podium, state your name and address clearly for the record, and keep your comments brief. Frank McKeon.
Good evening. I'm Frank McKee. I reside at 220 Glenview. The water replacement line. During the estimated 4 weeks to replace the pipeline, I presume the 2,400 feet will first be excavated, then the replacement process will begin. How will the replacement process be done? Will the contractor start removing cast iron pipe at one end and install plastic pipe in sequence as they move from one end to the other?
That's the projected plan. We'll know a little better after the pre-construction what his proposed schedule is, but it's designed for that, to start at one end and as you remove, you replace and continue to the end.
The course of 24 inches is going to have to be drained. There's about 235 gallons in that, but that's not a lot of water. But regardless of how it's done, the 24-inch line is going to be out of service once that process begins. And I presume the 24-inch line feeds the tower behind RVs?
Feeds the one behind CBS. That's our reservoir, and then from there we pump the system.
Okay, how does the big tank get filled?
From pumps. We pump from that reservoir to the rest of the system.
Okay. That line between those two is okay, I guess.
Right.
Okay. Now, is there an estimate how long the 24-inch line is going to be down?
Again, the project estimate is for 90 days. But they anticipate they can get the line back in service within around 45 to 60 days. So again, a lot of this will be discussed.
I'm just trying to get a feel for how long the 24-inch line will be out of service.
The bid went out for a maximum of 90 days.
Okay. That's where the highest risk is to us maintaining a supply of water. And bad weather, rain and snow and all that can, of course, impact on that. Now, we've got to keep in mind that the 12-inch line can only deliver 25% of what a 24-inch line can deliver. So there's some risk here that it's 30, 40 days relying on that 12-inch line to supply us with water. Now, if we assume we got a city of 7,000 people, and each person using 40 gallons a day, we need to provide about 280,000 gallons of water, plus maybe another 50,000 for businesses, schools, doctors' offices, and business. That's over 300,000 gallons a day that the 12-inch line has got to deliver. I don't know if that can do that. Can I do it over 45 days or 50 days? I wouldn't bet the family farm on
How
it.
many years the city was serviced by that line prior to the 24 being put in?
And that was
And we certainly don't want to put ourselves in a position where we have to depend on that during our peak demand during the summertime.
I understand.
That's why we're scheduling today, but I have all the confidence that that'll get us through this spring period.
But the 24-inch line was installed somewhere around 87 or something like that. and our population has there's been a lot of building, a lot of addition done, a lot of additional demand since then. Anyway, I'm just saying it don't look like we're going to be able to supply it. And has the fire board, are they on board with the fact that we may have low pressure and or maybe even a lack of water? It's certainly been that's covered all of our bases. But given that, I have my own plan how to do this.
I suspected that.
It might be good.
Number one, let's excavate the entire 2400 ditch with a line that is parallel to and alongside the existing cast iron pipe. The 24-inch line still remains active. Number two, install the new 24-inch PVC line in the ditch adjacent to the cast iron pipe. But do not install the ends of the PVC. Just keep that all there, except for the last 120 feet. Cap the plastic so nothing gets in. Okay. Now, on the big day when we want to make the switch, if we have two crews, and say we have 120 feet of cast iron pipe exposed to this end, 120 feet, and I'm just estimating how many. Put a crew at both ends, then make that connection to the last 120 feet. Now, it's true there's going to be an offset. You're going to have 24-inch iron, you're going to have 24-inch plastic, and you have to get from that offset to meet up with the new line. That way you minimize the time that the 24-inch line is down. Instead of having all those...
Excuse me, does your proposal account for the 24-inch high-pressure gas line and the 16-inch high-pressure gas line that's on both sides of that water line?
I don't know where those lines are at. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how close they are. I don't know. You know, if they're there, I'm saying parallel the plastic as close as you can, and then get close, and then make the final connection. At that point, I would abandon the iron pipe.
Also, limited amount of right-of-way that we have to work with.
Right. We have issues
There are the utilities
pipeline.
We don't own that entire right-of-way that's...
we have right-of-way issues. I'm just blue skying this as a...
It's a very common fact, and I don't know how you would be able to expose the ground alongside of the 24-inch without having it blow out or separate, without losing the structural stability of having the earth on both sides of it. So it's unpractical or to think about replacing it in that manner.
I don't know how stable it would be, but it's just a wild idea to minimize our exposure to the 12-inch line. And we have a good possibility of running out of water, in my opinion. Thank you for your time, folks.
I know nothing about pipes or replacing them, but, you know, hey, that's, you know, one guy's idea and it could work. I don't but I think we should have some kind of plan in place too, Joe, as far as some kind of water preservation announcement.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that's why we've been talking this project as much as we can.
Yeah.
And once that goes into play, we will certainly... Now, we've got some other backups as well. If we have a break in that 12, as we can string hoses, as I think Chuck would remember we did many years ago when we had numerous breaks on the 12-inch back before Youngstown replaced it. So there's a lot of thought that went into this, John. It's not something we just came up with overnight.
Joe, what has been our average daily use in the city at this point?
The average daily is around, pretty much close to what he's saying, around 350,000.
But
Certainly we peak during the fair time. We can have over 500,000 gallons.
And since about 1950 to 1972, that line supplied us rather adequately. The other thing that occurred was we built 2 million-gallon storage tanks to give us additional capacity within the system to allow us to have some flexibility in case of water line breaks and that kind of thing. And so that from the internal storage of our system, I think we are in fine shape. Yes, it's possible you can have water breaking that 12-inch line, Mr. McKee. I don't think there's any question about that. But again, our repair on that, depending on who may be doing it, is going to probably be 12 hours at the outside and considerably less than that on the inside. So I don't anticipate any kind of a problem whatsoever on supplying that through the 12-inch line. But your point is well taken with the idea of taking a look at it from a parallel situation. I just think, from my experience with the water line, a high-pressure gas line, or two high-pressure gas lines there, trying to expose any one or all of those is going to be a potential problem. As Joe said, those things come apart and that kind of thing, then we have a much larger problem than that.
Okay. Under old business, there is none. Any public comments under old business? Under new business, as per the provisions of Section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move that council dispense with the requirement of a full reading of the proposed resolution and authorize it by title only. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morvay, discussion? There being none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
Thank you. As per the provisions of Section 4.05 of the Charter of the City of Canfield, I move that council dispense with the requirement of 2 readings of the proposed resolution and authorize adoption of the same upon the first reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Morvay, discussion? There being none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I have a resolution declaring the official intent and reasonable expectation of the City of Canfield on behalf of the State of Ohio, parentheses, the borrower, parentheses, to reimburse its 24-inch water supply transmission fund for the water transmission line rehabilitation and replacement project, Project CF28R, with the proceeds of the tax-exempt debt of the State of Ohio, and I move for passage.
Second.
Mr. Tisch is the second. Discussion? Public comments? The clerk please call the roll.
Mr. Dragish?
Yes.
Mr. Cosar?
Yes.
Mr. Morvay?
Yes.
Mr. Tisch?
Yes.
And the number is?
2015-6.
Thank you. With that, any comments? Councilman comments?
I just would hope that it would quit snowing.
5 seconds.
That's all I have.
I think this water line is more critical than we're even suspecting, because today we had an addition to the population of the city of Canfield. Mr. Dragish and his wife became the parents of a baby girl.
Well, we found out it's a girl.
Yeah. Oh, you found out it's a girl?
Yeah. Not until July.
That water project's not that important.
Yeah, this is the inception. Oh, I'll explain to you later.
How does that work?
My remote charge.
With that, we're adjourned.
I thought you said you had it.